I'm Jeremy. Today is day 195 of reading. Today we're reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Let's get started. We're on page 388. Madame Pomfrey now came walking briskly up the dark ward to Harry's bed. He turned to look at her. She was carrying the largest block of chocolate he had ever seen in his life. It looked like a small boulder. "You're awake," she said briskly. She placed the chocolate on Harry's bedside table and began breaking it apart with a small hammer. "How's Ron?" said Harry and Hermione together. "He'll live," said Madame Pomfrey grimly. "As for you two, you'll be staying here until I'm satisfied you're Potter. What do you think you're doing?" Harry was sitting up, putting his glasses back on, and picking up his wand. "I need to see the headmaster," he said. "Potter," said Madame Pomfrey soothingly. "It's all right. They've got Black. He's locked away upstairs. The Dementors will be performing the kiss any moment now." "What?" Harry jumped out of bed. Hermione had done the same, but his shout had been heard in the corridor outside. Next second, Cornelius, Fudge, and Snape had entered the ward. Harry, what's this?" said Fudge, looking agitated. "You should be in bed. Has he had any chocolate?" he asked Madame Pomfrey anxiously. "Mister, listen," Harry said. "Sirius Black's innocent. Peter Pettigrew faked his own death. We saw him tonight. You can't let the Dementors do that thing to Sirius. But Fudge was shaking his head with a small smile on his face. Harry, you're very confused. You've been through a dreadful ordeal. Lie back down. Now, we've got everything under control." "You haven't!" Harry yelled. "You've got the wrong man." "Minister, listen, please," Hermione said. She had hurried to Harry's side and was gazing imploringly into Fudge's face. "I saw him, too. It was Ron's rat. He's an animagus, Pettigrew. And, you see, Minister," said Snape, confounded. "Both of them. Black's done a very good job on them." "We're not confounded!" Harry roared. "Minister, Professor," said Madame Pomfrey angrily, "I must insist that you leave. Potter is my patient, and he should not be distressed." "I'm not distressed. I'm trying to tell them what happened," Harry said furiously. "If they just listen." But Madame Pomfrey suddenly stuffed a large chunk of chocolate into Harry's mouth. He choked, and she seized the opportunity to force him back onto the bed. "Now, please, Minister, these children need care. Please leave." The door opened again. It was Dumbledore. Harry swallowed his mouthful of chocolate with great difficulty and got up again. "Professor Dumbledore, Sirius Black, for heaven's sake," said Madame Pomfrey hysterically. "Is this a hospital wing or not? Headmaster, I must insist." "My apologies, Poppy, but I need a word with Mr. Potter and Miss Granger," said Dumbledore calmly. "I have just been talking to Sirius Black." "I suppose he told you the same fairy tales he's planned to impart his mind?" spat Snape. "Something about a rat and Pettigrew being alive." "That, indeed, is Black's story," said Dumbledore, surveying Snape closely through his half-moon spectacles. "And does my evidence count for nothing?" snarled Snape. "Pettigrew was not in the Shrieking Shack, nor did I see any sign of him on the grounds." "That's because you were knocked out, Professor," said Hermione earnestly. "You didn't arrive in time to hear—" "Miss Granger, hold your tongue!" "Now, Snape," said Fudge, startled. "The young lady is disturbed in her mind. We must make allowances." "I would like to speak to Harry and Hermione alone," said Dumbledore abruptly. "Cornelius, Severus, Poppy, please leave us." "Headmaster," sputtered Madame Pomfrey, "they need treatment. They need rest." "This cannot wait," said Dumbledore. "I must insist." Madame Pomfrey pursed her lips and strode away into her office at the end of the ward, slamming the door behind her. Fudge consulted the large gold pocket watch dangling from his waistcoat. The Dementors should have arrived by now," he said. "I'll go and meet them. Dumbledore, I'll see you upstairs." had crossed to the door and held it open for Snape, but Snape hadn't moved. "You surely don't believe a word of Black's story?" Snape whispered, his eyes fixed on Dumbledore's face. "I wish to speak to Harry and Hermione alone," Dumbledore repeated. Snape took a step toward Dumbledore. "Sirius Black showed he was capable of murder at the age of 16. He breathed. "You haven't forgotten that, Headmaster? You haven't forgotten that he once tried to kill me?" "My memory is as good as it was ever, Severus," said Dumbledore quietly. Snape turned on his heel and marched to the door. Fudge was still holding it. It closed behind them. Dumbledore turned to Harry and Hermione. They both burst into speech at the same time. "Professor, Black's telling the truth. We saw Pettigrew. He escaped when Professor Lupin turned into a werewolf. He's a rat. Pettigrew's finger, he cut it off. Pettigrew attacked Ron. It wasn't Sirius." But Dumbledore held up his hand to stem the flood of explanations. "It is your turn to listen, and I beg you will not interrupt me, because there is very little time," he said quietly. "There is not a shred of proof to support Black's story, except your word, and the word of two 13-year-old wizards. It will not convince anybody. A street full of eyewitnesses swore that Sirius Black murdered Pettigrew. I myself gave evidence to the Ministry that Sirius had been the Potter's secret keeper." "Professor Lupin can tell you," Harry said, unable to stop himself. "Professor Lupin is currently deep in the forest, unable to tell anyone anything. By the time he is human again, it will be too late. Sirius will be worse than dead. I may add that werewolves are so mistrusted by most of our kind that his support will count for very little. And the fact that he and Sirius are old friends. But listen to me, Harry. It is too late. You understand me? You must see Professor Snape's version of events is far more convincing than yours." "He hates Sirius," Hermione said desperately, "all because some stupid trick Sirius played on him. Sirius has not acted like an innocent man. The attack with the fat lady, entering the Gryffindor Tower with a knife, without Pettigrew, alive or dead. We had no chance of overturning Sirius' sentence. But you believe us." "Yes, I do," said Dumbledore quietly, "but I have no power to make other men see the truth, or to overrule the Minister of Magic." Harry stared up into the grave face and felt as though the ground beneath him were falling sharply away. He had grown used to the idea that Dumbledore could solve anything. He had expected Dumbledore to pull some amazing solution out of the air. But no, their last hope was gone. "What we need," said Dumbledore slowly, and his light blue eyes moved from Harry to Hermione, "is more time." "But," Hermione began, and then her eyes became very round. "Oh! Now pay attention," said Dumbledore, speaking very low and very clearly. "Sirius is locked in Professor Flitwick's office in the 7th floor, 13th window from the right of the West Tower. If all goes well, you will be able to save more than one innocent life together tonight. But remember this, both of you, you must not be seen. Miss Granger, you know the law. You know what is at stake. You must not be seen." Harry didn't have a clue what was going on. Dumbledore had turned on his heel and looked back as he reached the door. "I'm going to lock you in. It is," he consulted his watch, 5 minutes to midnight. "Miss Granger, 3 turns should do it. Good luck." "Good luck?" Harry repeated as the door closed behind Dumbledore. 3 turns? What's he talking about? What are we supposed to do?" But Hermione was fumbling around the neck of her rose, pulling from beneath them a very long, very fine gold chain. "Harry, come over here," she said urgently. "Quick!" Harry moved toward her, completely bewildered. She was holding the chain out. He saw a tiny, sparkling hourglass hanging from it. Here, she had thrown the chain around his neck too. "Ready?" she said breathlessly. "What are we doing?" Harry said, completely lost. Hermione turned the hourglass over 3 times. The dark ward dissolved. Harry had the sensation that he was flying very fast, backward. and a blur of colors and shapes rushed past him. His ears were pounding. He tried to yell,